Because JM and I moved to Ottawa from Toronto, and there was no square dancing, believe it or not, like none. So there were a few names that people had kept in a list of folks that might be interested should someone come at some point in the future who might want to start a group. And for the first, I think, year or year and a half, we danced with 7 people and a ghost. We had a tiny little group, but it was a lot of fun. It was a really good social group, and it was nice to be able to continue in Ottawa after moving from Toronto. You know, we all pitched in ideas about what the name ought to be. And over, I think, a series of weeks, we kind of had a bit of a process of elimination, and Date Squares ended up being the name that was chosen. Partly because it was easy to be bilingual, Ottawa Date Squares. And also because sort of the play on the name with the dessert. And we always serve date squares at our fly-ins and events. One of the other interesting things that we were able to do that was a first for the date squares and a first for square dancing was to have square dancing included as an international event at the first Out Games in 2006 in Montreal. And so we had about 75 or 80 dancers from across North America that came to join us. And we had a couple of callers that flew in to call for us. And we had a non-competitive event during the Out Games. So everyone who attended earned an Out Games medal. Really cool, and being part of introducing it through the Out Games and helping them organize it and broaden their perspectives to think square dancing was really an interesting activity.
The Date Squares started their existence in an upstairs room at the Algo, which was a lesbian and gay community center in Ottawa, on Lisgar Street, if I recall. We put out some ads in papers and got some people that showed up. Had a really fun intro night. It was mostly women that first night, which was amazing. We danced and had a great time. They came back for subsequent weeks. We had classes for several weeks, maybe 3 weeks to a month. And then softball season started, and we mostly just had guys left, which unfortunately wasn't enough to make a square. But we managed to get some extra dancers in over the next few months, and most nights we were able to make squares, though it wasn't always with the same number of leads and follows. And so some nights we needed leads, some nights we needed follows. And you know, it's not a good thing when you're learning to square dance to switch roles. But because we had so many issues with this, we decided to choose one of our dancers to sacrifice. We'll call him Wendell. So Wendell would show up every week, and we would tell him what he was dancing, depending on whether we needed a lead or we needed a follow. So poor Wendell, it took him a long time to learn how to square dance, unfortunately. He had to learn both at the same time, unlike the rest of us that were sticking to a single role. And so it took him a while, but on the plus side, he became ambidextrous, or bidantual, long before any of the rest of us did. And I think in the long run, it made him a better dancer than the rest of us. Though for those first few years, he struggled a little bit, and we loved him for it. And that was the story that I have about the Date Squares. Did you know that we had never danced to a live caller before you dropped the needle on the record?
I did not. I had no idea. Up until that point, you'd only dance to tapes, huh?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Wow. Yes, and at the time, tapes.
Mm-hmm.
No MP3 or anything else.
One of the dances that we did a tour, and one of the stops on our tour was the Parliament building. So how did that go? Tell me what you remember about that.
Do you know? And I don't think it wasn't a Fun Badge tour type thing. It was just a city tour. Mm-hmm. And Ottawa, the seat of government, the opportunity to be able to see Parliament building, quite the thing. So I remember that we went through several different areas. One of them was to get to the actual floor of Parliament. And at the time, there was somebody who I believe somebody knew who was a guard who was working that day at that time. And I don't know whether it was acceptable to allow people onto the Parliament floor, or it wasn't, huh? Okay, so it was not. We were not supposed to be on the Parliament floor, and she put down the rope so we could go in. And as we got there onto the middle of the Parliament floor, literally sitting there, standing right in between where anybody would toe the line with whatever was going to happen, somebody at some point said, "Well, we should dance." And my thought was, well, of course we should dance. And I believe it was your, Mark, I believe it was your cousin who was there. And we decided that the only thing that was appropriate to do was going to be to dance to the Canadian national anthem. And while the calls can be in English, but of course the lyrics need to be in both English and Spanish. And so, English and Spanish, listen to me, English and French. And so, when it came to the lyrics part, I sang in English while she sang in French.
Mm-hmm. It was
appropriate the thing to do.
It was something to behold, that's for sure.
It was something else, and I think there's even photo. I think you sent me a photo of that. And I believe what the guards was going to do was that if anybody queried her, she was going to say, "Well, they were dancing to the national anthem. What could I possibly do?"
The perfect excuse.
Absolutely.
Very nice. And it was to my knowledge, we are the only ones to ever have danced on the floor of the House of Commons. To this day.
I think it was two squares.
We had two full squares.
Two full squares dancing the national anthem on the floor of Parliament. Pretty neat.
Hi, I'm Guy Brassard, and I joined the Date Squares in 1998, 3 years after it was founded. It was my first experience square dancing, and I've enjoyed it ever since for the last 20 years, both with the gay clubs, the Date Squares and other gay clubs, and also with some straight square dance clubs. Our Date Squares prepared me to go to fly-ins and eventually to conventions. We had our own fly-ins here in 2003 and 2005, so that was a lot of fun. Then I started going to the IHSDC conventions, and that was a lot of fun. And in 2012, I was quite accidentally chosen as the Honky Tonk Queen, and so that was the first time an Ottawa Date Squares member had become part of that august group, and that's been a lot of fun too. In 2008, the club had to fold for a few years because we just didn't have enough members. Some of us kept dancing with other clubs, and in 2012, Richard Charman restarted the club, and it's been going ever since. And I've had a lot of fun all past 21 or 22 years, and really enjoyed both the dancing and the companionship of the friends I've made over the years.
Happy anniversary, Ottawa Date Squares. I've been dancing with them for about 18 years. Met some wonderful people. When I was learning, there was two guys, and we would start on a square, and all of a sudden, I thought one was coming at me, but it was the other one. Wow, where am I going now? What did I do wrong? These guys used to switch side all the time. Now, let's go ahead about 10-15 years, and here I am with my partner in another square at a neo-sarda dance and doing the same thing. You should have seen the look on the caller. Didn't know what in the world was going on because we were switching right and left, even switching from one square to another.
Hi, happy 25th anniversary to the Ottawa Date Square. My name is Jules Crown, and at the beginning of the square dancing, I've learned the ladies' position, and I was always going the wrong way. And Larry would say to me, Jules, not this way, the other way. And then after that, I've learned with time to be able to, like Roger said, to switch side. The ladies' side, the men's side, and all of that. And that made a lot of fun.
Hi, my name is Richard Charman. When I started dancing with the Date Squares in 2005, we were dancing 2 nights a week, but pretty soon that was one night, and then we were struggling to get a square, and then we had to go dormant. A few years later, I started doing a bit of calling, and in the summer had some people dancing in the basement, and wondered if it would be possible to get a gay square dancing group going again. Not necessarily the Date Squares, but something. So put all sorts of ads and flyers all over the place, and we did actually get 8 people the first week. By the 3rd week, 2 of them said that was very nice, but they were going to go and do line dancing, which left us with 6, and 1 regular person couldn't make it that night, which was 5, but we did get 1 extra person, so we had 6. So we did a bit of 2-couple stuff, and I think some kind of weird triangle dancing. And I thought, this is it. The new guy is never going to see him again. But he did come back and kept going. In fact, became president after a while. So 2 of the people that had danced in the summer, we begged them, could they possibly come for a couple of months, just keep us going, and in January we'll try and get some more people, and they did. And even after we were going again, they stayed with us because they had a great time. In January, we had one final effort, put ads all over the place, and just by luck, one of them was in the free newspaper, and someone who was having a birthday bash with about 7 other people decided to give it a try. So they all came over, and we had over 2 squares the first night. A few dropped out after that, but many of them kept going for a long time. So finally, things got better.